Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another big Wednesday of a bunch of Siege action-packed nights for you guys. I'm joined here by the lovely KJ Assassin himself. How you doing, KJ?
I'm doing good, and I'm keen, Elijah. It feels like it's been so long since our last play day, but we've got some good games tonight.
Absolutely, and our first game being a quite big one as well. The one and only Bandits sitting at Trident, sorry, sitting at a really good spot. They had a really big game. I don't know if you remember, but the 7-0 against the top dogs last week. That was quite a statement to make, and I'm hoping that they get to keep that train rolling into the next playday.
Yeah, no, they definitely caused an upset last week, and let's see if they can continue that going into this play day. And they're versing, quite a decent team. We've seen NDE show up here and there. They haven't had the best of seasons so far. They have picked up one win though, and they have looked good in the games that they have played too. They can't quite close it out, but I think maybe today could be a different story. But I'd imagine that Trident, they want to continue those upsets and continue to work their way up that ladder. But I'm keen to see it, Elijah. But in terms of what the leaderboard looks like from last week, let's have a look at that.
Quite a few upsets last week, I gotta say. It was a really exciting week. You got to see Trident. They pulled out a nice 7-0 against what was the top dogs Panic, and that eventually, got to give Bandits their first spot. So Bandits is now sitting up top into that first place. Panic falling thanks to their 7-0 into the second place now as well. And today's game being that 9th, 1st, 10th place to determine who will take that very last place. So if NDE win this one, they're going to move up out of that last place, which I imagine that they want to do. Nobody wants to be in that last place, but judging from the games that we've seen from Trident, they snapped in, they found their grip, 7-0'd the big dogs, so they're looking to get that last anytime soon either.
As well as we had that interview, which is a nice little thing that we have now. We had that interview with Sali, and he gave us some insight into the team, and they've been working hard from what he's been saying. So, we've been having quite a few play days, so he'd have a lot of information on each team and the way that they play and whatnot. So I wonder if going into this game, they've done some more prep work, and they're going to be able to counter-strat NDE as well. So it'd be interesting. It'll be interesting, and maybe this is the second half is where Trident turns the tide. But in terms of what map we're going to be seeing today, Elijah, I think it's a spicy one.
Well, let's head to the bands and find out. They will be taking us to a theme park, which I believe, KJ, this is the first of this season at least, but I do remember we saw a theme park last season on Seas. I remember that game specifically, but this is a rare map to take us to. It was either that or a skyscraper, so both maps that we haven't seen quite often. We could have been to. Trident choosing to ban that skyscraper, and NDE taking us to theme park. NDE having the comfortability as well, starting out on the defense of theme park as well, because I would say theme park, it is a rather defender-sided map in my personal opinion.
It definitely is. I'd say it's probably the most defender-sided map in the pool. Very close to the skyscraper. But I think, the fact that we haven't seen it, I feel like that's good. We should have a bit of excitement, a bit of change to what we're used to. No Oregon to kick us off. So I think that's huge for the most part. But I guess with the prep, it's really who's prepped this map harder. Because if you, obviously Trident, they are starting on that attack, and ND on that defense. So ND have that advantage, but if Trident, they know what they're doing, they're locked in, they definitely can win some rounds on the attack. And a 2-4 split on theme park, that's a pretty comfortable position to be in. So I'm keen to see it, but we're in the match. ND taking on Trident. And look at that. We have some lovely cams, so we get to see these players, the gamers, the gunners from behind the screens. We get to see them. Look at that. They're in.
It's beautiful. We get to see all of their faces, all the hypes come through whenever they get kills, maybe even some sad faces when they take a loss as well. But we'll go through our very first bans though. Dokkaebi getting the first ban hammer. That'll be removing some of that global utility. Now, we haven't seen much of a Dokkaebi ban recently. Traditionally, it would be, if you're choosing to get rid of a global utility, you'll see a Jackal get banned quite commonly as well as a Lion. But they're going to go for the Dokkaebi instead. Try to avoid those calls to reveal the positions of the roamers who are trying to be a little bit sneaky on a map like this as well, where lurking can be a huge problem. Monty to take the next ban. That's an interesting one as well. You don't normally see that.
That is definitely interesting. The Dokkaebi is, you know, that I like that ban from NDE. That's a good ban, especially being on that defense. It allows you to roam a little bit easier. But Lion is still on the board. But the Monty ban, that might be a bit of a target. I don't know the thought behind that. But Azami to follow, and that is a very good ban on any map. But definitely a map like Theme Park where there's so much, you know, map to take control of. Eliminating her off the board is going to make it that much easier. But Solus to be the last, and that's going to be a very strong intel operator off the board as well. So I think, for the most part, good bans. But Thatcher is going to be on the board, Elijah. So I think in terms of keeping the walls safe, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, they shouldn't have any trouble opening up those walls, especially downstairs if you're trying to do like a barrel push or a maintenance push as well. Shouldn't have much of a trouble, but that's also dependent on how the defense of NDE work up, whether they decide to get some of those early picks onto that Thatcher, because that would be quite huge. But it's also depending on whether they choose to run the Thatcher, because we've seen multiple times that teams seem to just forget about it altogether. And it looks like that's what they're going to start us off with. But we'll be going upstairs, the second floor, to start off our very first defense into the waiting room. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, they're going up top. That's not usually what you see a lot of the time. But on Theme Park, you know, Daycare and Anish, both of those sites upstairs play very, very similar. You just extend onto each side, and for the most part, it is held quite the same. But they're not going to go and opt for that Throne Armory, the more favored side, the preferred side. But we'll see if they've got some tricks up their sleeve on this top floor. But in terms of Trident, they are bringing that Lion. So Dokkaebi off the board, but they are still using that global utility operator. Maybe that'll help them clear these positions of these defenders of NDE. But they are bringing that mirror, so no Habana. That is going to be difficult to deal with unless you dedicate those Twitch drones to clear it, or those ace charges. But C4 to go out, but the lineup not too good to find anyone just yet.
It was an ambitious toss. Luckily, Sweat got to avoid the destruction of that C4, and he's able to get away with his life still intact. Pew to do some droning as well to find out where that Valkyrie had potentially lurked off to. The last thing you want to do is, you know, get caught up when you're not expecting it. But it looks like Trident going for a little bit of a push, making sure you're clearing out that below as they repel up to that cache Valk as well. They've got all the drones and intel. Thankfully, the Twitch as well to clear up some of that util that they've left unattended. Maybe they can get that mirror popped open. You never know.
Oh, he chose to get rid of the ADS instead of the mirror. That's an interesting choice by Zebi there. But maybe they have plans to use the second one for it. I don't know, but he definitely could have popped that mirror, I reckon. And hopefully it doesn't cost Trident that round there. But for now, Trident making good control. They have this top dragon, and they still have just over halfway into the round left. So I think that's a good position to be in. They still haven't been contested yet, so interesting play by ND, especially seeing as the first site is that initiation office. Once they have this cache control, they're directly outside the site. So ND need to respond here.
Well, they are playing it super slow. Essentially, they're just trading out their time for survivability at the moment, making sure they have everything set up for their initial push when the time comes as well. You can see all of them are propped up outside of that control room as well. But you're going to have to deal with Dave. Now, he's holding tightly into the initiation room as well. The smokes are going to go out as well as the Lion scan to try to stop him in his tracks. But no picks to go out just yet. Still a 5v5. Puppet's going to take a huge chunk of HP as well as Sweat. But he's going to win out the engagement instead and take the head off of Names Dave as well. To bring it down to a 4v5 now. Gospel's got to try and go on the flank as Zebi gets that diffuser down with no issues at all. They've got full control now. Pew to take a nice shot onto Ted, and a double up so as Pew and Gospel find theirs on their own. But Shuri, he's not going to let it slip as he gets a trade back onto Gospel. Kiwi with a nice shot back onto Shuri. We'll take it down to a 1v2 now as he heads to head on to Pew. 31 seconds left on the clock now, and Kiwi's going for a little bit of a control. He gets spotted out as well, loses a little bit of HP, but he's aware of both of these players. C4 to be tossed, but it hits the drone on the frame of the door. Unluckily, he picks it back up though, tries to go for the second, unable to hit. 16 seconds.
Ooh,
and he's unable.
Trident. They're looking good, Elijah.
They're looking sharp. You know, they're comfortable. They know what they're doing. They had it planned from the very beginning. I do like the 5-stack onto control. They took advantage of the little players who were holding into that initiation. Dave took the 4. They got the entry, the plant, the smokes. It was all just perfect.
Yeah, they used that smoke to take control. They opened up that wall and then they smoked it so that they could push in close, and Sweat, luckily, he took quite a lot of damage, but he vaulted on top of that control desk and was able to find that pick onto the only initiation player. So a bit of a misplay from NDE. They weren't quite able to sort of work out the way that Trident was pushing, but they read that it was open and they took it off of that pick, and I think that was a very smart decision. And being the attacking side on Theme Park to start us off, finding the first round, you gotta show respect where it's due.
Yeah, especially for upstairs. I mean, it is a little bit of a harder site to push, especially if you're holding it well. I'm amazed that they managed to get control of that control room as fast as they did, as well as they did as well, without anybody falling. So maybe that's what NDE needs to look forward to doing when they potentially take us back, is, you know, not letting them get control too early on, as it was a little bit easy for Trident. We're going to go downstairs, though, back to the first floor, into that shrine throne room. Looks like Gospel's trying to get active already. He wants to find his very first pick, and he does a good run out. Narrowly misses the kill. It will elude him, but he's able to get away. He didn't lose any punishment there.
Smart play from Trident. They played a little bit slower, expecting some sort of run out, and maybe they have done their homework here, and maybe NDE got to be careful of what is to come. But for now, NDE, you know, they're only 1 round behind, and they're on a more favorable site for defenders. And if he's not careful, Gospel, he's going to get taken out, and Sweat, he's going to open up the round once again, and he's going to shut down Warden. That's a pretty big pick to get as well. They don't have any smokes this time, so he's not going to be able to utilize those goggles. But if he was to get flashed, he could have utilized that. But he's off the board, down for the count. 2 minutes to go, and they already have this vert control, and they're starting to open up that floor and hopefully try and get the utility off that wall. But the C4 to find Sweat. So refrag, bit of a late one, but refrag all the same.
I was going to bring that up as well. You know, they adding Gospel to the mix, like, he did get picked off, but if you added him as well, they did have 4 C4s, plus the Valkyrie cams as well, that you can imagine is going to get intel on that vert. So they might have lost 1 C4. They did make way with one of the ones that Omar had put up, but they've still got 2 C4s left in the pockets, one of Kiwi and one of Dave as well. It looks like they're going for a yellow stairs push. Pew, he's already making work in the wall, accompanied by that Thatcher as well that we talked about them bringing. Mute's going to have a little bit of trouble taking that. And they've got the hatch as well.
Yeah, having that split hatch open is definitely going to add some pressure. You got to be careful on that barrel side, because the perspective from that hatch, you can sometimes see their feet. So you got to be careful as a defender that they cannot get a free pick like that. But look at this positioning from Valkyrie here. Fiana's not careful. She does shoot the cam, so no Valk cam to give intel, and the wall will be open, but he's able to rotate back safely and survive for now. But they have yellow wall open. 40 seconds left. They're able to plan their execute here, but they are vault on the breach, so they have to vault. That will give that sound cue for that defender in that corner near that fireplace. So they're going to be careful in this execute, Elijah.
The pinch from Trident is looking pretty tight, though. Trident, they've opened up the barrels wall as well. It's going to add a lot of pressure onto the players who are at the back of that shrine as well. But you've got 2 in the breach, so they have to try to clear out the person who is right. You have to be careful of that. A nice shot from Pew is going to clean him up nice as well, and he's got the diffuser in hand. Zebi's going to get that down. Flashes go through to add a little bit of pressure as well, and there's going to be no contest as Papa, he tries to get the shot. Halftime is going to lose it, though. Named Dave is going to get onto Shuri, but Zebi is not going to let it slip too far as he finds 2, and Shuri cleans it up for his team.
Trident, man, they're looking so good on this attack, and NDE, they're looking good at wasting that time and not really getting picked off. But when it comes down to that execute, when it comes down to Trident collapsing in on NDE, they just can't quite deal with all the chaos. And Trident, they prosper. They've found 2 rounds on the attack already, and if they lose all the next 4 rounds, then, you know, that still puts them in a very, very good position on the defense. So I think Trident 2 up on that attack, that is a beautiful, beautiful position.
Well, they're gonna have to win out this bunk. Daycare if they hope on getting any leeway towards their half switch. NDE, they're playing well, but against Trident at the moment, they've got a little bit of a train going and it's not stopping anytime soon. What is Sally feeding these boys? These last two playdays.
I don't know, man. He's giving them something, but they're feeling themselves. Can they continue the 7-0 streak? Will they go back-to-back 7-0s? Who knows? On a theme park map as well, that would be definitely a map to do it on if you're starting out on that attack. But I'm sure ND will have a response. They have been looking good, and they do usually take a little bit to warm up. So maybe they have all the things that they want to adjust, and the bunk daycare site is the one to do it on.
They have done their extension as well into the waiting room initiation in office, so they're going to have to be a little bit careful of that. You can see Half Honor. He's downstairs in the maintenance, looking to get an early pick, accompanied by Ted, as well as majority of the players of Trident are doing that east across. They are trying to push into that gong as well. Ted finds the first onto Sweat, and that's your very first pick. That'll be your Ash down as well, and Honor's there for the refrag, potentially, if Ted manages to get picked up there. But instead, Zebi will find the kill onto Gospel and bring it back to a 4v4. But Zebi did lose a huge chunk of HP in that engagement. He's going to have to play a little bit more safer if he wants to utilize those shock drones for the rest of the round. Now, you can see their extensions working quite well in terms of slowing down Trident and getting that cache control, as well as that control room in itself. Shuri with a nice drone is going to spot out Half Honor downstairs. His position is going to be given away. And it looks like they're going for a little bit of a hard take. We haven't seen a sense be used like this before. Maybe they're cooking.
They've got something up their sleeve, that's for sure. And maybe they're going to push straight into cash off of that. I like that play. All those head holes open, but they can't utilize it. And they're in bathroom. There is a mirror on that top yellow, but that's going to be cleared straight away from the ace charge as well. So Kiwi forced to rotate onto the stairs, and wonderful plays so far from Trident to gain this control.
The teamwork and communication from Trident just being that much better every single time we get to witness them. Zebi as well, trying to do work to get rid of that Cade Claw, but the Twitch drones are a little loud and it's going to give away the position as well. You can see Half Honor, he's working his way up these dragon stairs as he is aware that there is a player in that control, but he has to be a little bit quieter if he wants to get away successfully. Unfortunately though, Zebi is going to find the pick onto that and take it down to a 3v4 as well. Kiwi's pressured from this office, thanks to the mirror falling to that ace. Little grenade to do majority of the HP as well. C4 to try and trade it back, but none to connect. 45 seconds left at the clock for both of these teams. And it's looking quite rough at the moment. You're looking to get aggressive. Ted with a nice shot onto Papa. We'll move it back down to a 3v3 now, and it's all anyone's game now. It's only 33 seconds.
That's what they need, and Dave finding another. This puts them in a very good position to close out this round, but Shuri, he's able to find one of his own, and they still need to find 20 seconds left on the clock. They're going to smoke off of those holes there. Shuri finds another. It's all left to Ted. He's got to clutch up, but unfortunately, Shuri just has the one up, and Trident, so far, so good, and so far, so flawless. 3-0 still. ND yet to find a response.
Trident just playing so well. I mean, you got to imagine that they're pretty hyped up, especially since taking down the big dogs last play day. Their attack being so well on that Oregon, and that's going to reign true, taking it to the second map now of the Trident streak, as they're currently 3-0 against the NDE boys. NDE need to show up now, make most of their defense half, because this is a defender-sided map like we brought up just before heading into that very first round. So if Trident successfully take out all of their attacks and they go on to their defender side, it's going to be quite hard for NDE to find any footing if Trident manages to stick to their current streak. But NDE, they might need some room to wake up. You never know.
Yeah, they definitely do. It was a lot stronger round from them, though, that last round. So hopefully they find... I don't know if you saw that chat message that popped up just before we went to that player cam screen, Elijah. But Pew, trying to get in the heads of ND, he said, maybe go lab, or maybe lab. So he's saying that they haven't won any of the sites. They've tried all three apart from lab, but they're going to go back to this initiation. They've done a full rotation. They're trying to keep Trident on their toes, but right now NDE, they're the ones on the back foot. And if they let Trident win any more rounds here on the attack, I think it's going to be a real struggle for them on the defense, on the attack themselves.
Well, it looks like Trident are doing the exact same push that they had successfully done last time as well. The castle entrance across the east side to that west side. They're going to have no trouble already rappelling up to those balks. Now, if you're NDE, you want to slow down that control into cash. You know, you've got the Valkyrie cameras already set up into control, which is going to help you last time, which is what Trident successfully revolved their push around as well. This time, they've got a glass. Now, I don't think that they had that last time. We haven't seen many of this, so it might look like they're going to utilize these head holes in a way that'll flip it to the attacker side, because if you unsuccessfully peek a glass, you're gonna get your head taken off easily. Oh, Gospel, he's gonna completely flip that narrative, take out the glass himself with a nice little pick as well on a one-time scope.
Yeah, he definitely had the sniper of that assault rifle. Instead, he reversed it. He completely flipped what he said. Maybe you've got the caster curse today. Maybe
that could be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to see. I mean, they could bring it back. Maybe this is Gospel's very first round, thanks to that nice pick. They might win it out for NDE, so he might go big. I think he's feeling himself. Maybe that little bit of smack talk that Trident pulled up against him has gotten in his head and he wants to pull it back. But hopefully he's aware of Pew in that bathroom. He did give away his position thanks to the pre-fires through the cabinets. But he's got a nice little control here. He's able to take out Kiwi as well. Tries to get across, but Gospel to find second kill and the third onto Pew and Zebi. But he's immediately refragged. No, half honor with a support and head with an extra onto Shuri. And NDE will take their first.
And you did a bit of parkour there to do that final kill onto that yellow con sort of rafters area. And they find their first round. And we get a love heart from Gospel.
Gospel little love heart, nice. Was that a 3k as well? Almost went for the fourth. He's pretty happy about that. Chuck's a little love heart. We love you, Gospel.
We do. And I think that's the momentum that NDE need right now. They definitely needed that round to sort of shut down that momentum from Trident. They don't want them to get any more rounds, and hopefully that can kick off the next few wins for NDE, and we can get that closer game that we are itching for. But for now, Trident stay, in the lead, and they're gonna try and keep that lead. But NDE, they're going down to this Throne Armory. Now, they did struggle with it last time. I think they lost too many picks, and when it came to the collapse, they did really well at wasting the time, but when it came down to the execute, the collapse was just too much for them. So hopefully, they have a better grip, a better hold on things, and they can take another dub here. But Trident, even though they lost that last round, for the most part, I think they were a bit too confident. So I think if they sort of take things a little bit more seriously again, not skip a few steps, they'll be able to maybe win this round.
I mean, they have changed their lineup from what was an unsuccessful defense last time. They weren't running that Bandit. They weren't running the K. They only had the Mute in potential of stopping them from opening up any of those breaches. But this time, they've got the K, they've got the Bandit, they've got the Mute as well. So they're definitely going for a little bit more of a trick. Hopefully Gospel's a little bit aware of him repelling there. It doesn't look like he wants to get too aggressive though. It's probably the smarter play to keep yourself alive and well, especially if you're going to utilize those cheeky little glasses on the push.
It would have been a good pick, though. Taking out the Thermite, you could only have the Ace, and that would limit Trident's opportunities. But, you take that risk, you could fall victim as well. So they're going to be careful. But Sweat, he's playing a little bit safer. He doesn't want to get C4 this time. So I like this adaptation coming out from Trident. But the Jaeger of half here, he's hiding. So if he's not spotted out, if Trident don't do their homework, don't do their the right steps to clear him out, to spot him out, they're going to find themselves getting backstabbed. And he's just waiting patiently, waiting for that mistake. But Sweat, they're just pinging out all this utility so that they can begin to clear it. They're spotting out that K-Claw. They're going to take that out, and they're going to be able to open up that wall later on. But Gospel, finding the opening pick again for his team, and when he did it last round, they were able to close it out, and he finds a double. I don't know how he's done that, but that's the Thatcher and the Therm off the board, so he didn't take out the Thermite early on. but he took him out eventually. But a double for him. He got a triple last round. Can he do it again, Elijah?
I mean, he got 2 huge kills there and even managed to get back into the side uncontested as well. Half Honor was failed to get droned out like you mentioned earlier, and he's able to capitalize on the kill onto Sweat. They're down to a 5v2 now. They're going to try to go back to bunker. And they've got the Pew here. He's in drug as well, and he's going to catch Honor off guard as he isn't aware of his position either. And take it back to a 4v2 now, as the rest of the players are traditionally, or what I saw, was in sight. So you've got one player on the vert as well, and the rest are just waiting for the clock to be chucked down. They don't need to peek. They can just secure this round, as there's no way possible for Trident to bring this back.
No, and it's 25 seconds, and they've only just starting to open the wall now, but they've only got yellow wall open, so all the defenders are going to be looking this way, but Cade, he's going to fall down, so they're going to be careful here. They shouldn't be peeking, but Gospel, he's going to fall to Pew, and it's back to a 2v2 now. Cade is down. Can they push in? Can they go for this plant? They're going to finish off the downplay, but there is one split, so it's all up to Shuri winning this gunfight here. This is a vital pick to get, but no, Kiwi finds the head of both. And NDE, they find the second round.
You know, even though I said that it was completely impossible for Trident to bring back around, my oh my, was that closer than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I think you've got the caster curse today. You almost cursed NDE there, but it wasn't enough to stop them. They did clean themselves up. They did play it a little bit smarter, not gifting any more picks, but that was looking rather close for NDE. So they're going to be careful going into this last round of the defense that they don't slip up and they can get this even 3-3. And that way it can sort of help them on that attack switch up.
I like these face cams. It's such a good thing to have.
It does. It gives a face to the player, you know. We get to see them get hyped. We get to see them pop off and see their reaction. So I think I like it. And
give us love hearts as well.
Yeah, they give us love hearts. So we love that. But is the love heart enough to find them another round?
I mean, they're going on a little bit of a roll at the moment. I mean, I got to give it to NDE. I mean, they might have got 3-0'd at the beginning, but 2 rounds in a row now, you got to be quite happy with that. So you're going to have to work on defending here even harder. Maybe you can go on that cycler. Did try to call them out. They were like, hey, maybe try drug. And then out of nowhere, they've won 2 rounds in a row. So maybe fix your attack.
Yeah, where's the response from NDE? Getting their heads back, but maybe that was a mistake from Trident. They woke them up. So, you know, NDE should be thanking Trident right now. They should be thanking Pew for giving them the motivation to shut them out. Maybe they thrive on the smack talk. And Gospel, he's been doing so well these last 3 rounds, being able to find those opening picks. And he found a double last time. A Sweat, he's able to find picks just the same, and he's able to even up that man count back and shut down half on that Jaeger. But, you know, I think NDE, they have the better of that trade. You know, Thatcher for Jaeger. You know, Jaeger's utility hit, it's all down. It's all down, and they can be utilized by all of the defenders, whereas Thatcher, he still had some EMPs to be used. So maybe that Ace and the Thermite could struggle with those bandits on the wall.
Even more so, because where did they just use that ace charge? Was that on the hatch?
I don't know. They do have the Thermite, so they can sort of spare some utility, but I guess it's going to be tough. Especially with that mirror top yellow. You see that? It's bandit.
You're going to have to try to deal with that exactly how they did last time, but it's going to be a little bit harder to take that control because you don't have that sense that you had last time that helped you get control over Cash initially, because it gave you cover from those head holes. And Kiwi is going to be holding that one with his life as well. Shuri, he's going to find one, and he's able to find the pre-place as well.
Can't need that.
To match that back onto Gospel as well. He's going to do a little bit of an aid, go against it instead. Dave to get the kill back onto Pew. Leave it down to a 2v3. Now it's swinging in the way of Trident's favor as they are the man count up for the moment. But in dire situations, NDE can prevail.
Definitely can, and they have the utility to work behind, so he knows that he's going bathroom. So if Kiwi finds his pick, it's going to be very, very influential. And still have the bandit, so if they can play off each other well, this is definitely doable. 35 seconds. They're going to start to push on through, but Sweat, he's going to utilize his Ash utility to push up close to this mirror. I think that's a very good play on his part, and he's able to smack it and deny the viewing of that mirror. But Name's Dave can find Zebby, so back to that 2v2. Needs to go out from Shuri, but he is low HP, and Kiwi, he's going to win that gunfight. They can play it safe now. He's going to jump through yellow. The pre-fire's almost found him through the wall. Now Kiwi's going to be careful.
There's only 5 seconds left for these players to do it. Sweat manages to hit the first kill, though. Don't think he's got the diffuser all the time. And NDE will take their 3rd round in a row and tie us up back to a 3-3. So now it's anybody's game, and that's exactly where you want to be for a split. NDE will move to their attack, but in the off favor, Trident will also get to take their turn on the defense on a map like Theme Park, which we talked about being heavily defender-sided. We get to see how Trident can affect against the attack of NDE, but at the moment, NDE are looking quite good. They got 3 rounds in a row to shove it back to Trident, who tried to smack talk them, losing 3 rounds in a row. Maybe their attack is just as good as the first half.
Yeah, they took a little bit to warm up those engines, but they are warm and they're ready to continue that streak. You know, obviously Trident, even though they're on the defense, they're playing off a 3 back-to-back loss, whereas NDE, they're playing off the last 3 rounds winning in their favor. So hopefully they continue that on the defense, but I'd imagine Trident now being on the defense, maybe it favors their playstyle a little bit more. And they're going to go to this daycare bunk site, I do believe, or is it initiator? It's initiator,
I believe it's daycare. I think they've extended into...
Oh, no.
No, it is initiator, yeah. Initiator office. Something different this time than what we got to see NDE do on their defenses. This time they're utilizing the mirror in control and that office, which they didn't do on their side. They only did it for that daycare and bunk, so it'll be a little bit harder for NDE to attack if they are doing a cash across. They've got all the util to work with, though. Name's Dave, he's running that ace, as well as Kiwi onto the Thatcher as well. You've got the Twitch, potentially. Maybe you can find those mirror spots.
Oh, this
nice little pre-place, though.
Mid.
I don't know how he doesn't see it.
Shoot it. Otherwise, Gospel, he's going to punish you. He's Amaru. He's going to go straight through that window and have all the intel on your positioning. And he's going to be able to take you out. You're going to be... He's getting so much intel off of this.
You can tell that's what they're working around as well. You can see majority of the players of NDE have rotated themselves onto that west side and the south side as well to go for a little bit of a cafe and bunk side push. Try to get on those repairs to pressure that mute because you've got the intel and exactly where he is. You're going to play off that intel, clear him out, and you've got that entire side of the map because I do believe they've got even more until to find out that there's nobody playing there. I mean, you got to find your very first pick. Papa Taz is going to lose his one. Shuri to trade it back onto Gospel, though, to bring it down to a 4v4. You did have the intel, but against a shotgun, you're not going to do it too successfully. It's not going to let it go too easy.
No, it isn't, but they're already in the, like, halfway through the site. Half. He's close. He's got the mirror control as well, so he's able to shut down anyone playing in an ish, or maybe even this Mozzie in control. So Mozzie's going to be careful of his positioning here, but they're going to open up the mirror instead. So that's an interesting choice by them to do that, but they've done it anyway. Maybe they've got some plan behind it, but a minute to go. 4v3. NDE, they got to drone out these positions of these players and work out which side they want to focus more.
Looks like they're just hard focused on that initiation side as well. Pew behind the mirror is going to spot out a player. Nice little Twitch drone to drop the mirror as well, taking a huge chunk of HP. Is going to be Zebby in half on the engagement. Nothing to go out from the two just yet, though. Pew to connect onto Dave to get down to a 3v3 now for both of these teams. Zebby's not looking too hot in terms of HP, but neither is half on a Friday. We've got 26 seconds left to work with Kiwi to connect onto Pew, taking down to a 3v2 now as the Thatcher tries to push into waiting. There are no angles set up for him just yet, though, and he is unaware of the last two players. Smokes to go into site, though. Yeah, able to vault uncontested yet. But the Warden is still available, and he's able to utilize those glasses to find the kill through the smoke onto Zebi, onto Ted, sorry. And it's down to a 2v2 now. Kiwi's holding the cross. Can't manage to find the angle just yet. Sweat as well onto the waiting crews, but he's already crossed over. Zebi's going to try and stop the plant there. He's swung out. He doesn't know exactly where he is. Behind the office, he manages to connect. And in the end, Trident will prevail. And they'll take their very first defense.
Yeah, so a bit of a change to what NDE saw on their defense. They weren't able to win out there first, but Trident on the switch up. Looking good on that defense, and they're able to win out the first round on this half. And they're going to take a timeout. They're going to not choose to play off that momentum. So, interesting choice. But maybe they just want to continue this momentum and talk to their coach and work out what they want to do from here on out. Because they don't want to throw that 3-0 lead again, I would imagine. So, if they can continue to keep this lead, puts them in a nice position. I'm sure they want to secure all 3 points. They don't want to go into that overtime, because we have the same story as the first half. You know, we're going to go to that 6-6.
It's a very close game at the moment. Could you imagine if it's on the switch half, right? You get to see Trident, they take a few victories, and then just as last time, they could have the same narrative, and NDE could wake up maybe 2, maybe 3 rounds later, and they just get their victory up and up and up, and they'll take us the full distance.
That would be something. That would be something. But, you know, we still have lots of rounds to be played, and we'll see if that stays true. But for now, Trident have that man advantage, that round advantage. And if they can keep it, they're going to be able to win this theme park map. And obviously being on that defense, a lot easier to do, as we've talked about. So if they don't have the same story as last half, it is definitely doable for them, but they got to keep their wits about them. They can't get too confident. And they got to realize that NDE, they're still in this. They can come together and win these rounds, so they got to be careful. But for now, NDE, they're going to be having to attack this bottom floor site, so a little bit harder to deal with, but definitely doable. We saw Trident win out on this site, so why not NDE?
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Interesting. They've only reinforced half of that maintenance wall by the looks of it. So they could potentially open that up. Maybe they're going for a little bit more of an aggressive extension into the maintenance. You can see Cade already opening up those head holes as well. So I like the different sort of hold that Trident are doing. Maybe Sally's cooking up some stuff for theme park, and I respect it. We haven't seen something like this before.
No,
we get to see how it turns out firsthand.
They've got something different going on here, and I'm excited to see it. But they reinforce that barrels. A lot of teams play with that rotate there, so they reinforced it off. So maybe there was a call from someone roaming or something that they were taking that control. So we'll see how it goes. But Shuri, he's down in Gong, ready to take some engagements down here. But so far, bit of a slow take from NDE. They're just taking their time, trying to get this top floor control.
I mean, when you're faced with something new like that, you see that Trident are trying something different that you probably haven't seen before, because I know that, me personally, I haven't seen anything like that. So you got to take a little bit of a step back, try to analyze exactly what Trident are trying to do against you, so you can sort of determine what the best course of action is for your push. And it looks like they've decided to go for the cache upstairs control. Try to get a little bit of that vert. Get some live droning downstairs into that Gong area to make sure it's all clear for you. So it looks like it might be a maintenance push. Try to utilize the fact that there is already a wall that is soft for you to potentially open.
Yeah, hopefully they can start to, you know, open up these walls so that they can work out what they want to do with this execute. But they still got to clear that bottom floor. Never mind, all of the players of Trident are on the side. And they reinforced that head holes that we were talking about, so... Oh, the impact tricks, though. And they're going to be bandit tricking as well, Elijah. This is not looking good for ND right now. They do have the ace if they lose the thermites, but that still doesn't solve the problem of that impact trick and the bandits. So they're going to be careful.
Oh, he's just unable to get it. So they will open up that maintenance wall successfully as well. Do believe a C4 was popped, but nothing to connect just yet, as Gospel is able to stay with his life intact, as majority of the players of NDE have rotated back to try and get this yellow wall opening. Our Gospel's going to help with that, as he's got the vert as well, and he's able to spot out where the Cade is playing. He's gone back to that fireplace. They opened the wall successfully as well. Dave to get that open with no problems. Zebby and Papa to find their first 2 picks in the round to take it down to a 3v5 now, and are swinging all the way into Trident's favor as they look to get it to a 5-3 in terms of the scoreboard. It's going to swing in. Pewter managed to find a first down and get the second pick as well, accompanied by Zebby and Shuri to close out the round to get Trident. They're flawless.
Flawless round by them, and you know, it was looking kind of scary. NDE, they opened up the walls, they had all that vert, but when it came down to those gunfights, when it came down to the execute, there just wasn't enough time to work out what they wanted to do, and they sort of took solo engagements, I believe, or weren't able to work off each other as well as Trident did, and that puts NDE in a tough position. They now have to win this next round, otherwise Trident, they take that match point, and proves all, you know, all the odds are going to be against NDE in that case. But they can still win this out. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get that momentum on the attack. Figure out what you're doing, because it is a different story than defense. You know, it's a little bit more coordinated. You have to play off each other really, really well, especially with that drone work. So they can do that well. They can find this round 9 and hopefully stop Trident from taking this W. But I'd imagine Trident winning the first rounds in defense, 2 rounds, they're feeling good. They're feeling confident.
Well, they're going to have to try and see how they can defend the initiation. I like it. NDE, I think their attack is going to be quite strong. I like the lineups. They've got the Ace, they've got the Thatcher, they've got the Ion of the Twitch as well. They're not, well, they are bringing the mirror this time. They successfully, I believe, got their mirror open, and thanks to the Twitch last time, so they're definitely going to be looking to get that again. But it looks like Zebby, he doesn't want to give up this control too early. I'm wondering if he can manage to find an early pick there. They were getting the pre-fires on, so that might scare him off a little bit. The last thing you want to do is lose your life to a little bit of a greedy spawn peak.
Yeah, and by having that window open a little bit, it adds that phantom pressure for NDE. They're going to take a little bit slower to clear it, and we saw just that. They were all just waiting for him to peek it. I think the best decision was not to peek it and let them waste their time. Let them take that little bit longer to rappel up or get on top of this roof. So, good play by him. Good choice by him as well. But NDE, they are closing down and getting closer to trying to take this top floor control and make their way over. Dave, he's on this rappel in bathroom. Looking to clear this cache side, but there is those holes and there is a mirror, so they're going to be careful of this. And it is met by a mute jammer as well, so they're going to have to clear that. And the only way to do that is with that Thatcher or that Twitch, but you'd probably want the Thatcher to do it, not risk losing that Twitch drone, as you'd probably need it for those mirror windows.
Well, they are trying to get control of this control room at the moment. You can see the hatch drop already underway. Mute did fall off though. The grenade was scary for him, as they didn't have anything to stop. No Jaeger ADSs, no one to potentially stop you from getting dragged out of that. So get that, no problem.
Yeah, and Shuri, he's just laying in wait, waiting for his prey to peek, and it's just a bit of a, you know, a patient game. Who is more patient here? And for now, they're both just as patient as each other, but whoever chooses to swing, I don't know who's going to win the gunfight, the person that swings or the one that doesn't, but bit of a swing coming out from the mirror there, but the shotgun switch up and it's all falling apart for NDE. It's all up left to the Yana. Zebby is down. He was able to take down Sweat, so it's actually a 1v2. This is very winnable for half. 40 seconds. But is he aware of the player in the corner?
He's not. Tried it. They'll take yet another win to add to the scoreboard. That is going to make it just that harder for NDE to pull any time backs, but they will request their timeout. Maybe have a little bit of a talk amongst each other. Their coach as well. Try to find out what they're doing wrong. As it's look at the score. A 3-3 at the moment. Three rounds win on one side. Trident. They switch it back on the side of NDE. Trident take back their 3. Maybe NDE will go for another.
Yeah, well, they're taking their time out, so maybe this time out it can cut that momentum from Trident, and they can talk about what they want to do in these next 3 rounds. You know, they adapted on the defense to the way that Trident was playing. They lost those first 3, then they completely switched it. They did everything right to counter the way that Trident is playing. Now on the attack, they've lost the first 3 rounds. What is their response? What are they going to do about the way that Trident is playing? And hopefully, with this little chat, they can discuss what that plan is, and hopefully NDE can find their own 3 rounds, and then we go to an overtime, and then there's anybody's game once again. But Trident, they're going back to that initiation, I do believe. I don't think they're going to be running all 4 sides. I don't think they're going to go to that drug. And they're going to continue to run the same sort of lineup, bringing that mirror, which isn't banned, which is a very, very strong operator on a map like this. But in the meta, not too long ago, Goyo used to be the go-to ban, or if it wasn't banned, he was definitely picked to bring all those shields. But, you know, he still has some good utility. I'm surprised we haven't seen a Goyo on this map yet.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really good in terms of delaying their push, especially if they're doing a cash across, because there's a lot of potential for you to peek and shoot out a Goyo that'll stop them from getting that control too early on, and they haven't sort of read into that just of yet. Maybe that's just not what they're comfortable with yet. It is super effective, I gotta agree, but looks like that's not what they're working around.
Yeah, I think with a team like NDE, where they take their time to work out what they're doing, having a Goyo just adds that pressure. It wastes that time, and on a map like Theme Park, that's exactly what you need. So we'll see if NDE, without the Goyo from the Trident, can they take this control a little bit faster? Can they start to put Trident on the back foot?
Looks like they're going for a little bit of a different sort of push this time. Cafe is going to be their first entrance. Gospel running the Lion this time. Definitely help in terms of their push. He's going to do a little bit of droning, but he's going to be stopped by the Mozzie. Unable to get any intel there unless you want to be able to clear that. Kiwi to do some soft destruction to help get control of that control room. So they're looking for just all around fan pressure for both of these teams. You're able to spot out exactly where that Mozzie Pest is and get around it successfully as well. And that'll help you clear out Cafe as Lion does a little bit of a Lion scan to help with the push to get in. There's nothing to come out of both of these teams just yet. But they are aware of the positioning of the players who are in daycare.
It's good quick control from NDE, though. They've listened in to our comms. They've taken quick control, but Taz, he's on the boosted angle, and he had the right idea, able to find Gospel, and that's usually a key player for them. Gospel finding so many opening picks, and unfortunately, he's down for the count. But Ted, he's there with a response with the F2, mind you, able to find the head of Sweat. So back to that 4v4, and he has yellow stairs control.
A nice little pick from there. He did take a little bit of HP in the engagement as well, but he is still alive and he's still in the count, and he is trying to get his Twitch drone in position to try and clear out that mirror, but it looks like Mirror is quite aware of it and is just aiming up that drone hole. Doesn't want to lose the utils too early on. See Kiwi taking a huge chunk of HP as well. Mirror to find the Twitch drone, unable to open that up, and Kiwi, he's walking up. He wants to get aggressive and active to open up this pick onto Papa, but nothing to come over just yet. He's doing well for burning time. Zebi's going to find his first pick, but a little bit of spaghetti aim is going to find that you will get the pick in the end, but Kiwi will trade it back immediately and take it to a 3v2 for both of these teams. A 2v2 as Names Dave is able to capitalize on the kill on Tashuri and take it down to an even score count for both of these teams. A little bit less so on the side of NDE as Kiwi. He's lost a little bit of HP. He's down to just about that 50, so he has to be a little bit more careful in terms of how he creates these engagements. Looks like he's going for a little bit of a rotate to help pinch, as there is a player in control, and he's hiding behind that soft destruction. If they pre-opened that hatch, which they did last time, I do believe the Samq is going to give away his position as well. A nice drop. Zebi's able to connect the kill, though, and take it down to a 1v1 as Dave finds the kill onto Pew, and he does have the diffuser in hand as well, and he's going to go for the plant. And Zebi is all the way back onto the Dragon Stairs as well. He thought that he didn't have the diffuser, but in the end he did, and he's able to get away with that plant successfully as well. Nice little pre-fire, but it narrowly misses his head, and it will elude him and force him to reposition to a position that will help him win the round in the end. It's looking like it's a little bit dire for Trident at the moment as Zebi is struggling to find the position of Dave at the moment. He's spotted out that diffuser, worked his way into the office as well as he's sitting behind that chassis, and he's going to go for the long arm to try and bait out Dave from going that pick. Second tick is on, and Zebi finds the head.
Unfortunate for NDE. They're just not able to find any attacks. Trident, flawless on that defense. They found 3 on the attack, and with a map like Theme Park, it's just very difficult to attack on. So Trident being the better of that, and they take this W. So back-to-back W's for them, and quite confidently. 7-3. They did lose 3 rounds in a row on that attack, but it is the attack. It is a little bit more forgiving. And Trident, they're looking good, Elijah. They're looking like a different team from what we've been seeing in the previous weeks, and going off that panic win has set things on the right path for them.
What is Sally doing to these boys? I mean, they've got to be doing something incredible. These boys have just played so good the past 2 days. I mean, even before that, they were playing good, but just recently, they've managed to find their footing, kick it into gear, and they've just been so consistent ever since. So congratulations, nevertheless, to the Trident boys. Unlucky to NDE. You guys played well. I mean, that comeback in that very first half was exceptional, but in the end, Trident is the one who will succeed in their victory, and they'll take themselves a nice little point to add to their scoreboard.
Yeah, I think Trident, they are definitely looking like a different team in this, second half of the tournament. And I'm keen to see them play further. And they're going to be happy about that win, winning that panic game, winning against NDE. NDE, they're just not quite there yet in terms of working together on the attack. I think their defense and the way that they adapted was really, really good. And props to them for that. But on the attack, maybe Theme Park just isn't their map quite yet. Maybe a few more things to work on, but at least they got to play it, We got to see something a little bit different. So I think, props to them for that and for playing that. And I think going into these future weeks, if they do play it again, they have something to go off, something to learn from. So, but, good first game to kick us off here, Elijah.
Yeah, exactly. I did thoroughly enjoy that one. Theme Park, something different that we haven't usually seen, but today we get to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself that has been feeding these Trident boys something special, some new form of G Fuel, that's for sure, for them to be quite successful so far in the last 2 play days, them going strong. We're going to welcome Sally to the interview when he is ready, the coach himself. He is quite a man. He does the work. I mean, from what I'm told, from you specifically, I know that you know Sally from past things. You've told me that he does put in the work in terms of his coaching, his player sheets. I got to give it to him. I thoroughly enjoy a coach who is passionate about his players.
He definitely is, and I was definitely blessed when I was on, the team that he was coaching for, and he puts in the work, and I think, it definitely shows, especially for this team, that they're listening, and they're learning, and props to him, but also props to the players for taking in that advice. And, I'm sure they have some tricks that they've, up their sleeves that they've been applying to their games themselves. And I think it's just all working for them at the moment. If those gears keep turning, then it'll be really, really good. But hopefully we can get Sali in soon, and we can ask him all the questions on how these boys have completely flipped that switch and what they're doing in that prac to perform like this. Because even when things get flipped on them, things just change for the better.
Honestly. Well, Sally, welcome back to the interview, my friend. The second time in a row that your boys have succeeded in a very, very exciting game of Siege. Theme Park this time as well. Welcome back. How are we doing?
Yeah, feeling good. Really well played from the NDE boys. I think that was a lot tougher than I guess the scoreline shows.
Yeah, there were definitely some close rounds in some of those. And on the attack, you guys looked really, really strong. And then all of a sudden it completely flipped for NDE. But going onto that defense, your team had like the clean slate. They kept their cool, and then they were able to win back-to-back rounds and didn't drop a single defense. Is Theme Park the map that you wanted to go to, or what was the you guys looked so good on the defense, so good. You played so well. What was the go around that?
That was a great question. It really well played from NDE in terms of bans. We did not expect Theme Park at all, right? It caught us off guard, but I'm glad like we're able to sort of play just fundamentally well, right? Play off those refrags, play those trades, open the walls, and then execute. Nothing crazy. Actually, we did see some spicy sense plays, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I mean that specifically is what we were wanting to talk about. We got to see that Trident specifically pulled out some things that most of us haven't seen before. I mean, the extension into maintenance as well is one of the things that I noted down, but that huge sense play as well, something that is very uncommon. I was thinking to myself, did they prepare for this? I mean, did they actually want to go to Theme Park? You saying yourself that you didn't want to go to Theme Park, so it just shows the capability of Trident in itself. I mean, they didn't even prepare for this yet. They came prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the maintenance extension. That's definitely not from me. But I think recently we scrimmed Theme Park, and one of the players, I believe it was Taz, found that sort of sense angle and just played around with it, and he was able to feel confident enough to bring that on the game. Yeah, so that was but the maintenance one's a bit. We have to have a chat with my players.
It's all right. They did reinforce it in the end, but like Elijah said, that sense play definitely a cool little angle that Taz found, and I think it's a really, really good way to take that part of the map, especially when it's opened up like that. The way that it was. So I think that's good. But sorry, my throat's a bit croaky at the moment, but I think for the most part your boys are playing well, and they're going really, really well into this second half of the tournament. So I think if you guys keep up that work, keep putting in the effort that you are, definitely could be a lot higher on that ladder and continue to get these wins. So we're excited to see it, and I think this is a new tide for you guys. You definitely got a new stride in your step, and we're keen to see it. But I think that is us done for the interview. Is there any last words you'd like to say before we go?
As always, thank you guys for the cast. I know it takes a lot of effort to take a full day, not a full day, but a lot of time out of your day to make this look nice. And obviously, thanks to the boys, thanks to the enemy team, they played well. Hopefully, they'll be able to find their first win like we did and make a solid run back. But yeah, that's all.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you, Sally. I can't wait to see you next time when potentially your boys can take a third win. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Sally. He's lovely, isn't he, Elijah?
Oh, I love Sally. His vibes are just, it's so lovely to be around. What a lovely man. But that'll be the game for us as we move into our next game, which will be just in a little while after we come back for a little bit of a short break. It will be Riot Gaming versus Arena Esports. So if you guys are keen for that, definitely stick around as we'll be back shortly. But KJ, anything to say before we head off?
No, I think, first good game. If you guys missed it, it will be up. I do believe the YouTube channel is running now. So, and VODs will probably be on the Twitch as well. So if you missed it, it's all the action is up on, both those avenues. So you've got that option. But, I'm keen to get into the next one. So let's go to this break and, let's get into some more seated action. But as you always say, Elijah, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and we'll see you guys very, very shortly. Peace. Bye.